Good morning, welcome to the Alpha Female Lounge on Asakio Online. My name is Pamela Mpofu and I am your host. On this show, we delve into different issues affecting young women in the Matabeleland region, being Bulawayo, Matabeleland North and Matabeleland South. On the 18th of April, the nation of Zimbabwe celebrated Independence Day. And we took to the streets today to hear what young women in Bulawayo feel about Independence Day, that we've come to 42 years of independency from white supremacy and white rule. We asked them what it means to them and if it's worth celebrating, and some of the milestones that have been achieved in trying to foster better living conditions for young women in the Matabeleland region. Stay tuned.
Hi everyone, I am a female student at NAST doing my final year and I'm residing in Bulawayo. So we have a topic here about our independence. The CA marks 42 years of independence for our country. But there's a lot of things in question too. For example, what it means to the girl child, what it means to the women in our society to be experiencing this 42 years of independence. As an individual, it's quite hard to embrace it when you don't really see the independence coming out of it. To us as a nation, it's only the independence of not having the white supremacy and white rule in our country. But then on every other level, we're quite livid, because you look at the employment, you look at even the education system, you look at inflation, the money, everything happening around us, and we're supposed to be feeling independent. So it's preposterous, looking at it bluntly. But then the other things we are experiencing, which are small positives, we can now function as an independent country in some things. For example, when you talk of the female embracing, the female is being embraced in the industry, being exposed to equal chances in companies and whatnot. So if that then was being applicable in a normal setup in a country that is functioning fully with industries at par, full par, and schools functioning properly. We give an example of my school, NAST. It's not even a school. You look at the place, the infrastructure, and it's a government institution. We're expecting high standards because the education is expected to be high standard. But what then the match does it come? How does it match the high standard of education when the place does not look as highly talked of as it is? So that's what I feel as an individual. It's good that we're now represented as our own. We have our own leaders in our country. We have our own Zimbabwean indigenous people leading in different sectors. But then it has to feel that way, not just be that way on paper. So that's it from me.
So in 42 years of independence, to me, it of course means that we've been liberated from the white colonial rule. But at some point it does feel like we've been handed over to black, oppression. Because as a 24-year-old woman from Matabeleland, you can imagine I've never felt like I'm comfortable in my own country. Like, I feel like there are no opportunities for me. There is no proper health care. People are dying every day in hospitals. So it feels like it's just everything that was there even during the colonial era has dilapidated. So it's just bleak for me. Like, of course, I know I'm no longer under white oppression, but still I feel like I'm still oppressed. I can't express myself as a woman. Everything is just not really what I would want to see after 42 years of independence in a country that I envision Zimbabwe as. So yeah, a happy Independence Day, but at the same time, we know what's going on the ground. We are not happy, and I'm not comfortable being a Zimbabwean. I feel like eloping anytime and going to South Africa, But in South Africa, also see a child. It feels like as the years goes by, every country just looks at Zimbabweans and sees people who are struggling, but we are saying we're independent. So yeah, I have mixed emotions. That's that. Under that.
So as a young woman, what
what would you want to see maybe as we head to 43 years in the next year? What improvements would you like to see?
And it would be nice to see young women being able to do anything that they want without oppression. And it would be nicer to see Zimbabweans from Matembele also being able to see development in their areas, proper devolution, not what we see every day, so that we can also be able to enjoy social services like, Kangela Matembele is like we only have a hospital that caters for all the women. And we had more challenges every time in the hospital. So it's really complicated. We want to see proper development, not to dilapidate izinto ezachiya ngabosmith. Danyala.
So as a person who is in Matembele South particularly, what in that area what would you like to see change from as a fan?
Yeah, for me, the biggest change that I would want to see, I would like to see young people being able to get proper jobs, proper exposure, not to see, Longahambe Kaya, where I come from, these are, just the general jobs. The jobs that were given to the black people, yes, can discuss with, I would really want to see, even in school, I'm a subject you find out there is a school. Agula mtofunda geography, bapho mufundisa, the family and religious studies and all that. I want to see proper, when they say they are empowering young people, proper empowerment, when they say they are teaching young people the proper projects, not the things that are just, given to young people because kuthiwa basekhaya, kumele ukuthi behambe beyephiwa inkukhu zamabroiler bhala abala-lights, abala anything like abakwanisa ukuyenza. But of course I want to see even ama-secondary schools because you discover even today some people just still go up to form 4, like akula ma-proper electrical setups for abantu abafundisa ama-sciences, akula ma-labs and all that, athola abantwana kuphela kune-class yama-arts kuphela, and this is like a school that is supposed to cater for abantu abafika kuma-5,000 or so, like i-catchment area yakhona. It just feels like it's still like Budala and ngesikhathi colonization ukuthi i-development is centered in the city center. Yikho somethina futhi so we increase immigration, abantwana bephila ukuthi ngcono nge-South Africa because yabe ngela opportunity to develop it. Yeah, so from the schools even to the health centers now, people still travel 15 to 20 kilometers. Umuntu ehlebelethele enqoleni, esiyafika esibhedlela esebelethile. But we are saying, 42 years of independence with all these minerals. So I'd really love to see proper development, not what we see now. It feels like we're still trying to enjoy the crumbs that were left, but we're supposed to, enjoy everything else.
My name is Lenience. I'm from Bulawayo, and I'm going to be answering what independence means to me as a young woman. So I do think that in terms of independence, Africa has come a long way. Zimbabwe in particular have come a long way in comparison to my mother's generation and my grandmother's generation. I do feel like I have more rights, or I'm more independent because things have changed. I do feel like there are certain parts of the country where things are probably still the same, and there is probably a long way to go in terms of independence. And I do think in the education system, there's a certain level, or there are strides or organizations which are trying to change things. I do think that sometimes it then does that at the expense of competence, and then they just it's almost like a token system that girls are getting handouts. But I do think that girls have the capacity to, earn their place in the world. I do think it's much better. At least I'll speak probably from a point of I stay in town and I go to school and I'm currently at varsity. But I do think there's much more to be done because most of the population of Zimbabwe is rural, and most of the girls in those areas find themselves in situations where they are not as independent as they could be if there was more being done or more opportunities being given to them in their places. So I do think there's been a shift. because of time, but I do think there's so much more to be done in terms of independence for young women in Zimbabwe.
Ibizo lami nguGugu vela ko Bulawayo. What independence means to me, I think it's more like freedom as black people, that we now have the country to ourselves. We're celebrating 42 years. Of course, there's still a lot of improvements that can be made in terms of, I think, being a civil engineering student myself, infrastructure. We are still holding on to what the white man left, and not much improvements have been made by us, the black people. So I think for us as Zimbabweans, we should look into that. For Bulawayo especially, there are not really much new buildings. And then as a woman, I think it's more like we should free ourselves, really be independent, because most of us, especially again looking in our science field, we are inferior. We feel inferior to guys. Not all of us, most of us. So you find in a class, it's only guys who participate. So I think this is more like women. Let's put ourselves out there. We have the brains. Let's use them. Thank you.
Hello, hi. My name is Priola. I'm from Bulawayo. 2 days ago, we were celebrating independence to njengabantwana beZimbabwe. But yeah, sitholile independence, but salama challenges esilawo as individuals, ama-youth awe Bulawayo, in terms like of job, ama-job opportunities ethu asalo kasikafiki lapho yikho esifuna khona ukuthi wonke umuntu nje ethola umsebenzi wakhe oyiwo ufunayo. Then yeah, as young girls, labanye abasaba lama challenges like ama-hospitals, ama-bills angikhona for ama-young girls. So sifuna maybe uthola maybe ama-kids ukuthi uhambe uthathe esi-hospital, kube section othi ufika uthatha khona without ukuqala uyadinga ukuze ukuthi ubone ubani uthathe nga. Ngiyabonga.
You have been tuned into the Alpha Female Lounge on Asake Online, and today on the show we're discussing how young people in the streets of Bulawayo feel about celebrating 42 years of independence, since Zimbabwe is celebrating 42 years of independence from white supremacy. As you heard some of the ladies mentioning that they feel there's more that can be done for them to get to a point where they're celebrating, because there are sectors that are still lacking, like healthcare sector, the education sector, employment opportunities, and so forth. If you have anything that you would like to share with us regarding this topic, and go into the comment section on our Facebook or on our YouTube, and you can engage in this conversation with us. You can also follow us on our social media platforms, and also catch up on some of the episodes of the Alpha Female Lounge and any other program on Asake that you have missed on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, as well as on YouTube. From me and the crew behind the scenes, until next week, goodbye.